Morning and welcome back to Morning Coffee Live. Yesterday we talked about kind of next steps after getting started in paid media, how you can start using that to build your marketing plans. So I want to just kind of continue the conversation from there. Everything's rather cursory so far, just kind of high level, but just kind of laying out a basic foundation of where to go with marketing when you're starting out. So as we covered on um, Giddy, how you doing? As we covered on Monday, we talked about, where to begin. Start with PR, about engaging your audience, getting in front of those brand evangelists, the ones who really care about you, starting to spread your message there. And then yesterday we continued by talking about paid media. Um, Paid media is a huge field, obviously, today. It's where more dollars are spent than probably anywhere else in marketing. And for good reason. It works and it works really well. So really what we're going to come to now is you get going, you have your PR running, you're starting to grow that audience, build a name. You then go to your paid media, you start building that out. You have Google ads running, you've got your paid social going. Well, what next? That's what I want to talk about today. Next becomes two things, really. One is scaling with data. What does that mean? Well, it means growing your campaigns, making them larger, increasing their efficacy, driving more traffic, but doing that by using data. Everyone always talks about the value of data, but the real thing at the end of the day is actually putting it to use and how you do that. How you scale with data. You take the data you're generating, the data you know, the data you've purchased, your 1P data, your 3P data, whatever data you have, and you analyze it. You develop insights from it, and then you use those insights to optimize your marketing and also to determine next stages for growth. Now, data doesn't necessarily just tell you all that right out. It's not like you're gonna look at a spreadsheet also and go, "Oh, okay, here we go. We need to start putting stuff onto TikTok because that's where our clients are. We have been missing that market. Let's get going." No, it doesn't quite work that way. You need to understand the data, but then you also need to make sure you curate data that's going to answer the questions you have. One thing that's generally, well, frequently done, it's considered a bad practice, is you don't want to cherry pick data or make a data fit the mold. You ideally want to approach your data already having a hypothesis figured out and then looking to see whether or not the data supports it. You don't want to go the other way around of looking at the data and then developing hypotheses from it. So, one of the things you can do, and it's something I see done far too infrequently, create your own data intentionally. Actually design either campaigns that will help generate the data you want, specifically with how they're built, or B, do research. Research studies are an inexpensive way to get really, really good information. And one of the beautiful things is once you've got everything up and running and you're already going, you're starting to develop that 1P data, as you start gaining email addresses, things like that, of a client base that have opted in to your marketing, you can then start pulling them directly. That's something as simple as you can do website polls on your website. You can set up a one question poll to just answer some quick questions. You can A/B test creative by polling people with it. You can do that on your website. You can do that through a third party. I've used SurveyMonkey, white labeled it a million times to run research. It's incredible. You can do it with audiences you own, where you bring your 1P data of your clients, your audience. You can also purchase audiences based on target demographics. So you can line up an audience very similar to your ICP, and then you can test that way as well. What you want to do when you're testing in such a manner is you want to make sure you have a full understanding of what you want to know, what you want to learn before you begin the testing. That's going to help guide your survey design. It's going to guide your question design. It's going to guide how you look at your data. Don't forget, you want to use your data to prove a hypothesis, right or wrong, or support a hypothesis in one way or the other. You don't want to look at the data and then make up a hypothesis that fits. The reason for that, while it occasionally works, is data is like statistics. People say 99% of all statistics are made up on the spot. Well, data is similar in the sense that it's very, very easy to make data tell you what you want it to tell you. If you go into data with an agenda, with knowing what you want the outcome of your data analysis to be, you can generally find a way to make your data agree. Well, that sounds great, doesn't it? Hey, I had this question. I went to my data agreed. Well, sure, that sounds great and all, except for one thing. You're introducing lots of data bias when you do that. If you approach the data without already having your hypothesis in mind and looking to test it, but instead you approach your data and go, okay, what does the data say? And then try to build hypotheses around it. One is you weren't directly testing your variables in the first place. Two, you know the story you're trying to achieve, and you're going to make the data fit that. Whereas if you instead approach from a hypothesis and then design tests and then use the results of those tests to either support the hypothesis or reject the hypothesis, and you develop questions etc around that hypothesis before you collect the data, you're going to get a much clearer view because you know you're going to be directly testing what you set out for versus instead taking a disparate data set and trying to apply it to an or apply a theory to it where you don't know if the data was trying to answer that question in the first place or if it just does. So you do want to be careful with that. Now, how do you scale with that data? Well, depends on what the data tells you. If you see that your creative, let's say, is functioning really well, you're in the right, you have the right message. Well, then it means you want to then look at, are you definitely in the right place, the right time? You can use data to do that. Look at when your ads are serving. Look at the timing. Look at when you're getting traffic on your website. Use your Google ad account or your DV360 account, whatever it is you're running your platform through. Use your social media accounts. Use your Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics account to directly look at your website and look at your traffic flows. Look at your journeys, your site journeys. See where people are entering, where they're exiting, and what time they're doing it. When are conversions happening? Look at all your data and see if you could paint a better picture of your customers. Can you understand them better than you currently do? Sure, you have an ideal customer profile in place already where you have their basic demographics all figured out. Now start looking at their behaviors. Use data to start determining behavior. Are you getting more traffic on Tuesdays than you are on Wednesdays? Well, maybe you want to decrease your budgets a bit on Tuesday and increase them on Wednesday. Maybe that's going to work better for you. Are you having lots of traffic on Fridays from your ads, but it never converts? Well, maybe your messaging isn't hitting right before the weekend, or maybe you're just you're nobody's actually going to take action at the end of the week. Maybe your product's a product that people are going to buy it on a Monday or a Tuesday at the start of the week, not the end of the week. Maybe you want to shut down those ads on Friday and move those ads instead to Monday or Tuesday type thing to get where you need to be. Use your data to figure out what to do with your campaigns. And then also you want to use it to scale up. How do you use data to scale up? Well, how you do that? Kitty, she's jump prone all over my desk. Thank you. How to use your data to scale up is you take a look at your data and you see where's your best performance. And then you got to do the math. It's not enough to just look at your data and go, okay, how many clicks, how many this, how many that. In most campaigns I've run, your ROAS is not as simple as looking at a number of conversions and going, oh, there's our conversions. That equates to this many dollars in sales. Therefore, here's our return on ad spend, and here's what we did. In most cases, your final conversion tracking pixels are looking at things like a form fill because you have a longer lead time. It's not an instant purchase, let's say, right? So when you're looking at a form fill, things like that, it's harder to put an exact value to that. How many of those form fills convert, etc. So what you need to do is start doing the math. You have to look at your conversion rates from paid media and from your organic media, but here specifically, in the campaigns, we're interested in the paid media. How many total over, say, a said period of time, how many total clicks did you have to your website? Great. You had 100 clicks. How many of those clicks converted into a client? Seven of them. Okay. So 7% of your clicks, end up in the sale. Now, normally a funnel's not that straightforward. Normally it's 7% of clicks move on to a, sales qualified lead or a marketing qualified lead, from which then another 10% move on to the next stage, of then another 3% finally convert down the road. But you can put all that together and determine how many clicks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of your campaign. When you figure that out, you can now start backing into numbers. You can start doing backwards math. You could then pull out your spreadsheet and go, okay, if I need, if 3% of people convert from a sales qualified lead to a sale, then I need X number of sales qualified leads. Well, if X number of people go from a marketing qualified lead to a sales qualified lead, I therefore need X number of marketing qualified leads. If X number of clicks or percentage of clicks turn into marketing qualified leads, I therefore need X number of clicks. And then if you're bidding on a per click basis, you could then go and say, okay, how many dollars do I need to achieve those number of clicks? And you could scale your campaign up to drive into traffic at the bottom of your funnel based on your data. Where you have to be careful is you can't guarantee that those conversion rates are going to hold true as you scale. Two things generally occur. One, conversion rates actually get better as you scale. And what happens is you run into economies of scale and you also improve the algorithms. The algorithms get in front of people to convert better. And you're also going to get in front of more people as you increase budget. So as you increase budget, you do end up with economies of scale. If you're running a $10 million a month campaign, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck than when you're running a $10,000 per month campaign. Doesn't mean the $10,000 campaign isn't worth it, but you're not going to get the economies of scale you're going to achieve with a million or $10 million. So that's going to factor in. Another thing that's going to factor in, though, um, train of thought just derailed. Uh, sorry, when looking back at your data, a second thing that you're going to want to look at when you back into the numbers as well is, are those conversion rates the best they can be? And the answer is probably no. So that's where you want to use your data as well to look at your messaging, look at your time, and look at every data point you have. You want to be analyzing and going, okay, what worked better? Where can I increase my conversion rates? Where can I increase my performance? And use your data to make those decisions. And then you could focus and allocate your resources to the higher performers and use it to grow that way. Sounds like a lot of work. Well, it is. But that's part of what marketing is. One of the cool things we're seeing more and more these days is AI is stepping in to figure this out. In fact, in data analysis, and especially with larger data sets, it's one of the areas where AI does currently, excuse me, does currently truly excel. Right now, everyone's talking about AI everything. One of the places where it truly excels is analyzing your data and pulling out those insights. So if you have the budget, invest in a platform. Some of the larger companies are building them custom. There are now a dozen companies out there building them for individual companies. I have some contacts that are, um, in that business. It's one of those things where it's coming out, and that data analysis through AI is one of the most efficient, effective ways of doing it. And what it is AI can take all your data sets up from all your channels. It can take all your paid media. It can take from organic as much as available. It can take from your CRM. It can take data from everywhere you have, all the 1P data you have, and any 3P data that you want to upload into it, and it can model it, it can look at it, it can analyze it. And beyond just coming through and telling you this works better than that, etc., it'll start to pull out insights that would generally take a lot more time or take very advanced statisticians to start even seeing. It does it in seconds. And what it'll do is it'll provide you with next best actions. It'll provide you with which copy is best performing. Which copy do we anticipate is going to work best next? It can help out figure out that time and place for you. It'll analyze your platforms. It'll tell you when and where is the best performing and tell you how best to adjust. What that'll do is it'll allow you to get more granular in your ad platforms. adjusts your time, your days, your copy, etc., to continually improve your campaigns. As you do that, what you're going to find is you're going to get greater efficiencies from your campaigns. And that $10,000 that was driving, 10 leads before is now that same $10,000 is now going to start driving 12, 15 leads. As you do that, you're going to increase your ROAS, you're going to drive more revenue for your company, at which point, ideally, you're going to also be pumping more back into your marketing. You are going to be able to scale your growth, and data is going to be what unlocks that for you. So, why isn't everyone doing it right now? Well, they're starting to, but one of them is there's a upfront investment. Second issue, people are scared. They don't know what AI does yet. There's so many companies popping up. They don't know which companies to work with who's trustworthy or not. A lot of the companies are only solving a single thing, whereas you're going to want a custom build that's going to look at your data specific to the way you care about it. Your tech stack may or may not be equipped and ready for it. Different platforms are easier and harder to integrate. It depends on what kind of APIs they have available. Um, your timing, your funding. There's a lot of things slowing people down, but right now, even for smaller companies, using AI to analyze data and use that specifically for marketing to increase the efficiency and the efficacy of your marketing campaigns and thereby increasing their revenue and allowing you more money to scale is probably the smartest thing that most SMBs could invest in right now, and they don't know where to begin. So, if you want to start, what do you do? Well, you got to find a good AI company, a company that's going to build it right for you. There are a ton of people out there, and it's the wild west right now. So, how do you find a good AI company? Find someone you trust. You can go to one of the big agencies, have them build a custom AI build for you. They're all doing it now. The very large agencies, you're going to pay a premium, but you're going to get a great product. You can go out and just find a independent AI person and see what they do. You could ask me. I know the industry pretty well. I dabble in it myself. Not to the point of building custom builds for businesses yet, but basic level AI. But I know the players in the field, the companies that are doing it. Ask your networks. Go talk to people. Say, hey, AI is going crazy. Who do you know that's serious about this? That can put me in contact with someone who can do it. Take some money, invest into AI for data analysis and optimization. It will pay dividends because AI doesn't eat, it doesn't sleep, it doesn't work a 9 to 5. It can go all day, every day. When you go to do the build, also keep the future in mind. It's something that you want to be scalable, but you also want to be modular. One of the things no one's talking about yet that I'm aware of besides me is modular AI development. Modular AI development is going to be something huge. And what that means is if you go out and put together an AI solution right now to handle your data, fantastic. You start getting going with that. Well, a year from now, you go, okay, I want to now pull AI into my advertising platform to help me set up my campaigns. That feature, as far as I'm aware, doesn't even currently exist yet for many of the companies, but it'll be here very soon. You want to make sure that your AI solution is going to be able to tie into that. How do you do that? Well, you make sure it has a modular design. Make sure it's being built on a foundation model. That's it, one of the larger foundation models out there um, that is going to have support for APIs for everything. And two, you want to make sure your AI is designed in a manner and programmed in a manner that it's not a black box. You want it to, or it can be a black box. You can have it run a single function, but you want it to be connectable to the next AI development you do seamlessly. You want to be able to take your data analyzing AI and you want to be able to directly attach that to your audience building AI, to your copy designing AI, to your timing AI, etc. You want them all to work together. It can either be a single program that does it all, but if you're going to build iteratively through time and scalably starting small. You just need to make sure that it's modular, that you can stack without that becoming a thing of you build your AI now, you go back because you want to add a new AI later to solve a new function and have someone go, oh, well, those aren't going to work together. We have to go back and rebuild. You want to be thinking about these things up front, is really the moral of that story. Um, Another thing with AI design, and once again, if you haven't read the white paper I put out a few days ago, go back and do that. You won't be disappointed. It'll give you some, more concrete areas on where to start this, but make sure it's scalable. Make sure that, as I said, it's modular, and then make sure you're working with someone you trust. We are headed towards AI, whether you like it or not. So, my opinion is get in early, get in right, get going with it. It can provide huge value. But understand that AI is not a solve all, it's not a fix all. It will not take care of all your problems all at once. It's something where you want it to solve a specific, in fact, think of it almost like the think of AI like the pharmaceutical industry, right? You have a sickness, they develop a drug specifically for that indication to treat the symptoms of that indication, right? Now, that drug may work for other indications as well, but you can't sell them for that until you get approval from the FDA for off-label or get approval for off-label use, but you need to get approval for that. Think of AI similarly. You don't want to jump into it as, hey, look, I have a wonder drug. It's going to cure everything. Those never work. Every wonder drug that's ever been out there that cures it all doesn't work. It's bogus. It's bullshit. AI is the same way. Think of a single issue you want to solve for, a single indication, build a solution for that. Then you'll have an AI that handles that single solution. And then, kind of like pharmaceuticals, think of what other comorbidities, can you work within? Where can your drug be expanded, or what other drug can you make that's not going to have negative comorbidities with the current one you have to expand, right? Think of AI like that. Solve a single problem with it, a single issue, a single pain. And then you can solve the next one and then the next one, but you just need to make sure that your AI is going to work together and be scalable to do that. Put your planning in up front. I said, go back, read my white paper. It goes into a little more, well, it doesn't get too deep, but goes into the things to be thinking about when you go to plan your first AI build. Um, I know I keep saying this and people keep not doing it, but the truth is we are going the way of AI. AI is going to take over the world. The question is, are we going to be with it or left behind? That's just the scary truth. Doesn't mean it's going to take all the jobs. It's that I talked about that the other day, and that's not even necessarily a bad thing if it does take a bunch of the jobs. But the point is, we're going the way of AI. Embrace it. Use it to your advantage. And those people going, oh well, AI is not going. I'm scared of it. This is going to be bigger than the dot-com boom. Guaranteed. AI is going to be everywhere. My washing machine runs on AI right now. Pretty soon, and they're probably already out there, your toothbrush is going to be on AI. Dedicated AI builds to solve single problems. Start there and then start worrying about how do you scale it? How do you grow it later? But coming back to scaling with data, this is why I went on a tangent on AI. There's no better way to use data to scale your marketing, scale your business than with AI. It's the fastest, most efficient method of scaling your marketing or scaling your company using your data, because AI can look at your data faster, it can understand it, and it can put together very disparate data points into comprehensive stories far more efficiently and effectively than humans can. It can do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that gives you an incredible power to be able to take your data, use real understanding from it, and then use that to enhance your marketing, to scale your marketing, to tweak your marketing, to refine your marketing, and to increase its efficiency and efficacy. Yes, you have to put a few dollars in up front to get it up and going. It's not prohibitively expensive. It will pay dividends for your business in the end. Well, thank you everybody for joining me today for another episode of Morning Coffee. I'm going to sign off. Please put any questions in the chat. I would be happy to answer. If you're looking for any details on anything, feel free to ask. I would love to know. Once again, you catch my videos on uh, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X, streaming live, and then also availables are available. The videos are available on Rumble and Shorts on Truth Social. Reach out if you have any questions. I did have an interesting conversation the other day with a really fascinating person who I hope to have as a guest on the show in a couple of weeks. So I will talk more about that as we get the details worked out. But plan to bring you a live interview, just a couple of predetermined questions, but then a fully live interview, just like we're doing the show. So, hoping to have some exciting new content coming for you soon as well. Have a wonderful day and God bless everyone. Bye bye.